Today on Business Insight, we take a look at government revenue as an important tool of fiscal policy. Welcome aboard. I am Vivian Oguche. We begin the show today with the day's top stories. My colleague Alfreda Ambe Bassi is standing by.
Good morning and welcome. On our top stories this morning, Nigeria's Minister of Interior announces a total revamp in passport application procedures. Also, the IMF has revised down growth predictions for China and the Eurozone. Details of these stories and more coming up after this break. Thank you for staying with us. Nigeria's Minister of Interior, Olubunmi Tunji-Ojo, has announced a groundbreaking overhaul of passport application procedures. Starting in January, citizens can apply for passports online, with plans for a doorstep passport delivery service by February 2024, reducing waiting times to 2 weeks. The government also aims to enhance the visa on arrival policy and establish 12 global visa application centers. These changes streamline identity numbers, bolster travel document integrity, and enhance national security, marking a major advancement in passport and visa services. And away from that, in commemoration of the 2023 World Post Day, the Nigerian Postal Service has affirmed its unwavering dedication to advancing the federal government's digital economy initiative. The Postmaster General of NIPOST emphasized the pivotal role that postal services play in sustaining the nation's connectivity, particularly in these unprecedented times, highlighting the global significance of postal employees who are instrumental in delivering messages, gifts, goods, money, and medicine. NIPOST stressed its commitment to efficient service delivery and its ongoing collaboration with government agencies to fulfill its mandate. In a bid to enhance logistics and bolster last-mile deliveries across the nation, NIPOST recently procured state-of-the-art operational mail vehicles and motorbikes, aligning itself with international service delivery standards. This move signifies NIPOST's proactive approach in adapting to the evolving digital landscape while upholding its pivotal role in the country's connectivity and service delivery. Away from that, in ongoing diplomatic talks between Venezuela and the United States, the possibility of sanctions relief for Venezuela is on the horizon. This development could open the door for additional foreign oil companies to accept Venezuelan crude oil as part of debt repayment. The talks held in Doha focuses on addressing Venezuela's political and economic crisis. Meanwhile, the White House has expressed readiness to reciprocate sanctions relief if Venezuela takes concrete steps toward restoring democratic processes. Morel and Prom, a joint venture partner of Venezuela state-run, is among the potential foreign companies involved. Discussions encompass political prisoner release, electoral guarantees, and managing Venezuelan migration. If authorized, this could significantly boost Venezuela's crude oil production and impact its international relationships. It's worth noting that final agreements have not been reached yet, but these talks hold the potential to reshape Venezuela's economic landscape. The IMF has revised down growth predictions for China and the Eurozone. While the global growth forecast for 2023 remains 3.0%, the outlook for 2024 has been adjusted downward to 2.9%. Challenges include China's property crisis, commodity price fluctuations, geopolitical tensions, and the potential for lingering inflation. The IMF has advised caution for central banks and stresses the need for countries to strengthen their fiscal reserves. Coming up next is the stock, commodities, and currency market trends. After this break, stay tuned. Welcome back. At the close of Tuesday's traded session on the Nigerian Stock Exchange, NGX, a total of 257,423,368 shares were traded in 6,498 deals. This trading activity corresponds to a market value of 7,799,926,046 naira 14 kobo. Compared to Tuesday's NGX trading day, there was a 4% decrease in trading volume, a 125% increase in turnover, and a 6% decline in the number of deals. The current market capitalization of the Nigerian Stock Exchange stands at 36,800 billion naira. In total, 119 equities listed on the NGX were involved in trading. Among them, 13 experienced gains, while 27 faced losses. Mark Nicholas led the gainers with a 10% increase in share price, closing at 66 kobo per share, followed by Capital Hotel, Champs, and Associated Bus Company. On the losing side, John Holt had the steepest decline, dropping by 10% to 1 naira and 44 kobo per share, followed by Persco, Dar Communications, and Deep Capital Management and Trust. Fidelity Bank saw the highest trading volume with 53.4 million shares traded, followed by Access Holdings, United Bank for Africa, and Owando. And moving on, also at the close of Tuesday's trading session on the Ghana Stock Exchange, GSE, a total of 20,544 shares were traded, equivalent to a market value of 33,063 Ghanaian cedi and 11 pesewa. Compared to the previous GSE trading day, there was an 88% decrease in trading volume and 80% decline in turnover. The current market capitalization of the Ghana Stock Exchange stands at 73,900 million Ghanaian cedi. In total, 17 equities listed on the GSE were involved in trading today. Among them, Republic Bank Ghana was the sole loser, experiencing a 7.41% decrease in share price. Republic Bank Ghana saw the highest trading volume with 11,820 shares traded, followed by MTN Ghana, EcoBank Ghana, and Total Energies Marketing Ghana. And in the commodities market, the price of wheat stands at 560.75 US cents. Gold is valued at $1,861.24 US. Silver is trading at $21.81 US. Copper is being exchanged at $3.62 US, and Brent crude oil is priced at $87.79 US. And that is it on the news this morning. I am Alfreda Ambe Bassi. Vivian Oguche is waiting to walk you through the next phase of Business Insight. Stay tuned.
Glad to have you back. So, company's income tax is a tax imposed on the profit of a company from all sources. And the rate of tax is 30% of total profit of a company. And for more insight on our topic today, which is largely about taxation and businesses in Nigeria, as well as tax law, I'm being joined by Nziako Atuloma. I got that?
Yes, you did.
It's so good to have you in the house today.
My pleasure.
Yes, yes. Thank you so much. So, a brief introduction, yeah? My guest here is a managing partner of Synergy Law Partners, right? He also possesses extensive experience in corporate and commercial law, including advisory, litigation, arbitration, mediation, documentation, and implementation is the reason why we have him in the house today. So let's begin with a very broad topic, which I believe you're going to break down for us. What is tax law?
Well, thank you very much. That's, as you rightly observed, is a broad one. But then it suffices to break it down that tax law is essentially the body of laws that govern taxation within a given territory. It's important to note territory. You don't tax from space. You don't tax, from just anywhere. You tax based on your authority, your sovereign authority over a given territory to tax. So the body of laws that regulate who may be taxed, what may be taxed, what activity may be taxed, or at what rate is what you could call the tax law.
Fantastic. So when I was talking about the CIT, I mentioned that it is the profit that is taxed.
Yes.
That's the income.
Yes.
So who is taxed then?
Well,
as regards businesses.
Yes. For every tax, you have the tax base and then the tax rate. Okay?
What's that now?
So for the base is the activity or the idea behind that tax. For example, there are income taxes, companies income tax, personal income tax. For both taxes, the base is the income, right? Okay? So, and then there is the rate. So who is taxed in this connection is companies within the meaning of the Companies and Allied Matters Act, including companies that are not registered in Nigeria, but that do business in Nigeria. Yes.
Fantastic.
They are taxed under the Companies Income Tax Act.
So how are businesses taxed then? I'm talking about small and large businesses. How are they taxed?
Well, talking about how businesses are taxed, you may want to look at the way the nation itself is organized constitutionally. We're supposed to be a federation, or a federation we are.
Yeah,
right?
we are. I mean, you said we are supposed to...
Subject to continuous improvement.
Yeah, but we are a federation.
We are a federation, okay? So to that extent, you have the national laws, then you have the sub-national laws. Sub-national laws, like the laws of the states, the bylaws of the local government councils. So most of the taxation legislation in Nigeria is federal. Most. You can say up to 90% of the taxation legislation in Nigeria is federal. Be it Companies Income Tax Act, Personal Income Tax Act, Education Tax Act, the Industrial Training Fund Act, the NSITF Act, the Petroleum Profits Tax Act, or just all of it, the Stamp Duties Act, Capital Gains Tax Act, all of them are federal acts. Okay? So then when you come down to the states, a state like Lagos, for example, has what you call the land use charge law. The land use charge law, which through which Lagos State has sought to consolidate a few taxes and levies that were there before now. Okay? Then you also have the law that was promulgated during the time of...
Could you hold your thoughts?
Yes.
I'm sorry we lost the audio of my guest in the house, but we'll quickly take a short break so we could fix the technicalities. We'll be right back, yeah? Stay with us. Welcome back. So Nziako was talking to me about land use charge, right?
Yes. Okay, so that's one of the laws that govern tax within the context of the states, you know, as a subnational entity, as a subnational authority. Then also there is this law that was passed during the time of Governor Fashola, the hotel and restaurants and hotel occupancy tax laws, you know, which is basically a consumption tax, which is why when you go to any major restaurant, after when you have your receipt, your bill, there's a portion there, you know, that apart from VAT, there's another tax that you get there. That one goes straight to Lagos State government. Okay, so as to how
businesses
are taxed, there's a whole, you know, big gamut of taxes that businesses are liable to. The first is what you have said, the Companies Income Tax Act. Of course, that presupposes that a company has made profit. If you have declared a loss, you're not going to pay tax. But then you have to convince the taxman that that the loss you have declared is for real and not a sham. The taxman by nature is trained to disbelieve and to doubt the taxpayer.
Why is that?
No, because, well, we're all human beings. Everyone has a duty of honesty in their declarations. And then how many of us are that honest?
Well, you'll be
so the governments around the world, you know, don't take it from taxpayers that I did not make profit. They want to see for themselves that you did not make profit. Or even that the profit that you have declared is true and not more than you have declared, because it is on the profit that the tax rate would apply after all the deductions and allowances have been made. Okay, so the tax authorities want to be sure that the expenses that you have incurred before declaring the profit are permitted, are allowed.
Fantastic.
Yes.
Right, so when we come back, I'm going to ask you, businesses pay taxes. Now, what does government do for businesses in turn, right? But I want for us to quickly take a look at a package my colleague Alfreda Ambebasi put together regarding this very topic we are discussing. Take a listen.
Navigating Nigeria's taxation and business regulations can be quite complex with ongoing changes. Businesses typically face a 30% corporate income tax rate, but some sectors might enjoy tax reductions or exemptions under the Companies Income Tax Act. Additionally, there's a 7.5% value-added tax enforced by the Value-Added Tax Act, requiring businesses to both register for VAT and send the collected taxes to the government. Various regulatory agencies, including the Nigerian Communications Commission, Corporate Affairs Commission, and Central Bank of Nigeria, oversee different industries like food and drugs, transportation, healthcare, telecommunications, education, financial services, amongst others. Nigerian businesses must maintain accurate financial records and meet reporting obligations to avoid penalties. Foreign investors must follow the Nigerian Investment Promotion Commission's guidelines to obtain necessary permits. Nigerian businesses must maintain accurate financial records and meet reporting obligations or face penalties. Effectively, navigating Nigeria's taxation and business regulations necessitates a thorough understanding of the relevant laws and compliance requirements. The government is continually working to improve the regulatory environment to attract investments and foster business growth. Businesses operating in Nigeria should stay updated on regulatory changes and seek guidance from legal and financial experts to ensure compliance with the nation's tax and business laws. Alfreda Ambebasi for Business Insight.
Thank you so much, Alfreda. So, Nziako, one of the things she's talked about was a regulatory environment to attract investors. There are people who watch out for favorable tax environments, right?
Yes.
Explain that to us.
Well, of course, no businessman would like to wipe out their capital on taxes and levies and expenditures. Okay, so they want to retain a decent quantum of capital for the purposes of their investment to turn it over. So one of the things that investors globally look for is a favorable tax environment. But even that one, there has been some international movement to curb that, especially with the work of an organization called the OECD. Its work on what is called BEPS, base erosion and profit shifting. Okay, so they've come up with the concept of harmful tax competition. I've always been skeptical of that myself. It's a matter of sovereignty. Some jurisdictions, by jurisdiction I mean countries, used to be known as tax havens, in the sense that they did not really tax income. They only taxed consumption. So those places where you go for tourism, holidays, vacations, and all of that, as you spend money to book a hotel, as you spend money to book a boat ride, to go mountaineering or hiking, there are taxes along the way, which you don't feel because those are not direct taxes, they are indirect taxes. Okay? But the OECD has tried to roll that back, basically to try to corral everybody into the same manner of taxation. Okay? So, in terms of favorable tax environment, yes, investors try to check out jurisdictions where, even if the rate is not so small, but then administrative efficiencies. Not that you have tax to pay, and then you also have to queue in long lines to pay the tax. It is bad enough that you want to pay money. Then how much worse it is that you have to, go through a whole lot of trouble to try to pay the money, right? So favorability also now extends to administrative efficiency, right? So the Nigeria's FIRS, how does it compare with the US IRS? How does it compare with the UK's HMRC, His Majesty's Revenue and Customs? How does it compare with other tax management authorities? So that is also a form of competition, which I'm sure has informed the FIRS's continuous improvement efforts.
Now that we are exploring this angle, how about cases of a multiplicity of taxes?
Multiplicity of taxes. That has been a perennial problem. There has always been that protest. And this you see within the context of the federal arrangement also. So you pay tax to the federal government, then the state comes, then the local government comes also. So there have been efforts to eliminate multiplicity of taxes. But then multiplicity of taxes is not the same as duplication or duplicity of taxes. Good. In the sense that you are taxing the same base over and over again. Okay? So the government, for example, on profit, just on profit, government is taxing the profit with education tax, with income tax, and what is called information technology tax, which is collected which is charged under the NITDA Act, right? Okay, so that complaint has always been there, and government has also tried from time to time to assuage people and allay their fears that they will, do all within their power to make the tax burden as bearable as possible. Yes.
Now, one of the things Alfreda also talked about is that businesses should always be at par with taxation trends. It's important for people to know what we're talking about, especially business owners, right?
Yes, most definitely. Of course, one of the ways that a business owner must show that they are ready for the game, that they are match fit, if I could put it that way, is that they know not only the law regulating their line of business, but also that they know what taxes they are bound to pay. And then do a bit of tax planning, retain taxation professionals to advise on how you must go about your taxes. Because tax is like, someone said tax is just like death.
Oh, really?
It's a matter of time.
Okay.
It's a matter of time. The tax man will come, just like death will come.
Wow, that's a bizarre analogy.
Yeah, so you have to get ready for the tax man.
Wow.
Yes.
All right, so now that we're wrapping up, does businesses just pay taxes or are there benefits?
Well, when you taxation is a matter of obligation. When you pay tax, you're not notionally doing the government a favor. You are performing a duty. So great is the duty to pay tax that failure to pay or refusal to pay is a crime, punishable by fines and by imprisonment, right? Okay, so, but well, government tries to make the case, that taxation is for the benefit of all. The central governing principle around taxation is that government wants to be able to redistribute the wealth, the wealth of the nation. The wealth of the nation, right? So government would like to redistribute it from those who have, not necessarily from those who have to those who don't have, but to make sure that everyone has some minimum level of amenity. For example, building of roads, bridges, water, dams, and all of that. Government is supposed to do all of that using tax revenue.
Fantastic.
But even at that, that has been, the jury is still out, whether the Nigerian case, meets this mold. Because you see, in many cases, companies are forced, compelled, indirectly, to fix the roads that lead to their factories. Okay? And then provide their own, most importantly, provide security. Okay? So provide their own security, provide their own power, and all of that. Although the government of President Buhari tried to formalize some of that arrangement by doing the tax for infrastructure scheme, where companies were allowed to build roads and then claim the refund through income tax. Okay, so that's where you saw companies like the Dangote and some of the other large taxpayers. You have to be a large taxpayer to try to construct road in exchange for tax. Okay, so government tried to do that. Of course, that principally recognized the fact that government is failing to live up to its billing, to the reason for which it is collecting tax.
Exactly, which is where I'm trying to drive you to.
Yes.
For example, you said the obligation, the onus lies on the taxpayer to pay tax because it's your duty.
Yes.
But also government must provide some amenities.
Yes.
Because you're collecting tax. For example, if I have a business that is largely based on power, I expect, and I pay my tax.
Yes.
I expect stable power supply, right?
Yes. That is not too much to ask for at all. That is basic. That is what many businesses abroad take for granted, but for which Nigerian businesses have to make elaborate preparations by way of extra investment. At some point, one of the CEOs of the telecom company said, look, I am more of a power company than a telecom company.
Really?
Yes, because he counted the number of generators in his control. If you go to each of the base sites and cell sites of all the telecom companies, you see generators, sometimes two, sometimes 17 kVA, 27 kVA generators, 2 units running. Because those sites must be up and running for you to be able to take your calls, send your messages, and stream your programs. Okay? So, and by the time you aggregate that, you will see, for example, that an MTN is not only a telecom company, it's also a power company. Because it is generating a whole lot of power to be able to run its business. And Airtel out there, it's not only a telecom company, it's also a power company. These are the anomalies, with which companies in Nigeria have to deal, okay? So those are some of the constraints that businesses fail. But well, adversity, proves your mettle.
Yeah, right.
Yes.
How did I say it again? Necessity is the mother of invention.
Of invention, yes.
So as we wrap this up, though, what would you like to see as regards taxation on businesses in Nigeria?
Well, I think it's a case of continuous improvement. The government should continually remember that the people, require its services. There are some things that the citizens cannot do for themselves. Security. Companies are spending so much on security, right? In many cases, paying government agencies too to provide extra security that should have been taken care of, as a tax-paying organization. You should get that benefit from government. Okay, so government should step up, and then simplify the tax laws and make administration more efficient, and then also remunerate the taxmen. I use that word generically. Mm-hmm. Remunerate them adequately so that they can be above board, such that government can get all the revenue that is due it.
Yeah, that's a safe place to land, right?
Thank you.
Thank you so much. So I have been with Nzeako Atuloma, and we've been talking about business law as well as taxation and businesses in Nigeria. Like I said earlier on, Nzeako is a managing partner of a Synergy Law Partners. He also has extensive experience in corporate and commercial law. I've got to say thank you to everyone who made this show a success today. A bigger thanks to you for watching. Make sure you are on top of your game when it comes to taxation in Nigeria and businesses. Just like my guest said, these are things we need to know. I'll be right back, same time, same station. Until then, take care of you. I am Vivian Oguche. Bye for now.